Good morning, viewers, and welcome to our special Christmas edition of the Economy and Politics Show. It's 25th December 2020, and across the world, Christians and people are celebrating the birth of Jesus. And of course, it's a holiday in most parts of the globe. But today, we'll look at a year that's been shaped by the challenges of a pandemic, that's the COVID-19, that's disrupted economic activities, but has left one sector as a critical player in the global industry, and that's the information and communications technology. Technology has continued to play a key role in shaping the economies, and we'll be looking today at how policy and enabling legislations can drive digital economic growth in Nigeria. With me to lead this conversation is Mr. Shina Badaru, a renowned journalist in the tech space and founder of Technology Times. Nice to have you, and thank you, sir, for giving us a bit of your time today to discuss this.
Thank you very much for the honor of sharing my thoughts and views with the viewers of your platform across Nigeria and Africa.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Merry Christmas to everybody.
Yes, same to you and the family, sir. Let's quickly take a look at the recent development around national identity. As you agree, the national identity and data capture is very key for our economy. And the Minister of Communications and Digital Economy made that call after meeting with all stakeholders for the linkage of our national identity number with our SIM card. Initially, they gave 2 to 3 weeks, which was to end this year. But after some outcry and intervention of the House of Representatives, it's been extended by 6 weeks. A lot of people have raised concerns about the whole process and even our fact that our data may be exposed. But I also want your expertise and thoughts on this move made by the ministry. It's the right call, and the process needs some rejigging to ensure that it achieves the purpose and guarantees our security of our data.
Thank you very much. The first thing to say is that Nigeria is gradually shaping up and moving towards becoming a knowledge economy and becoming a digital economy. So in that respect, it's not just desirable, it is essential, it is a complementary feature of that digital economy that we must be able to identify who you are in the digital economy space. That's key. So identity and identification and the whole slew of processes surrounding it is a key element of the digital economy, which will set out an ambitious vision to be part of. So in that respect, it's desirable that we have digital identity. But before we look at the minister's pronouncement or directive or order, or whichever way you want to phrase it, let's first of all understand the concept of digital identity or the identification of Nigerians and the stakeholders involved and the dynamics that have shaped this process or this procedure of getting to know every single Nigerian and every resident in Nigeria over the last few years. If we all know, if you want to collect, if you go to a bank, you do your KYC, the bank will collect your data and you get BVN and all of that. If you want to collect voters card, INEC will collect your data, you do the same process afresh. If you want the driver's license, the road safety will collect your data and all of that process starts afresh. If you want to, based on the existing regulation in Nigeria today, there's no way that you would or you're expected to use a mobile phone without a digital identity attached to that phone line. So that essentially, if you understand the framework or the outlay that I've given, before even coming to the National Identity Management Commission, which is the central repository or the one-stop shop of all digital identity in the country. NIMSIC is supposed to be the database custodian of all our identity. But what has essentially happened, or what we've seen over the years, is that all of these silos of identity reside in disparate locations across government MDAs, across various agencies of government, across various private sector custodian of our identity, the banks and various other private organizations, your mobile phone company, which we popularly refer to as the GSM companies. So it so then happened that for whatever is what we don't know, then the other thing to also remember is that the mobile phone family or the mobile telephony family in Nigeria, the GSM users across Nigeria, they represent a critical mass of user base compared to any other service in the country. As at the last quarter, based on the statistics given us by NCC, there are over 207 million active phone lines in Nigeria. So if you do give or take for multi-SIMing, dual ownership and all of that, you still come to the conclusion that that's quite a critical number. So if you go publicly on the NCC website, you can find this information. But we don't have information for BVN that's been done by CBN so far. But depending on whoever you are, you ask of whatever is the latest information that's been shared by various sources, we understand that we have in excess of over 11 million BVNs today. And also the same thing, over 42 million or thereabout national identity number. Now, the minister wakes up one day and says that in a space of 2 weeks, we should pair over 207 million phone lines with about 42 million national identity number. Except since we are in the season of our Lord Jesus Christ, in which Jesus turned water into wine, that probably will be the next miracle that we might witness if we find out that we will realistically be able to pair or link over 200 million phone lines with the digital identity of their opponents. It's practically impossible, because I gave this data or I gave these statistics to say that ever since we started national identity registration in Nigeria, we've only been able to do 42 million. Okay? Ever since we started BVN registration, we've only been able to do 11 million. In case Nigerians forget, just about this time, about 20 years ago, specifically December year 2000, when Oyo was president, we were on the cusp of issuing the first batch of digital mobile licenses. So in January 2001, that happened in that famous DSM auctions that was conducted by the NCC. In August 2001, the first batch of DSM lines went live in Nigeria. That means that from about 500,000, 1 million lines as at August 2001, we have grown the mobile ecosystem over the last 20 years to over 2 100 million today. So when we pitched that in the minister's directive that we spent the last 20 years building an ecosystem, 20 million. We spent the last decade or so building an ecosystem of about 42 million national identity numbers. And maybe in the last 5 years or so of BVN or thereabout. So how do we think that we can realistically link that? Even within the new frame of January 19 or thereabout, that's been announced as an extension. So from that standpoint, identification is desirable, it's nice, it's mandatory, but there's so many things, there's so many dynamics, there's so many situations that we currently have today that makes it unrealistic, that even makes it a big, there's so many ways to look at it. It would rank as another major policy flip on part of government. Because if you look at the national identity ecosystem obligation landscape, the responsibility the mobile operators have, they've collected data of every single subscriber, okay, based on their regulatory restrictions or based on the provisions that we know of the SIM registration regulation that governs that process, activities, and operations surrounding it. They're not even supposed to use those databases for their own use, maybe for marketing or any other use. They're supposed to collect those databases of their subscriber and pass them to NCC. So it is that point of getting the NCC's data to handshake with that of NIMSI that we've had a problem over the years. So it
Okay, Mr. Shina, I can't really hear you again. Maybe you need to mute. Is it? Okay, yes.
okay.
You're going, yeah.
Am I audible?
Yes.
Good. What I'm saying in conclusion is that we're not saying that national identity or knowing who does what on a mobile phone or knowing who is who from cradle to the grave is not desirable. It's desirable if we have to part of the what's it called, the digital economy ecosystem. But what we're saying is that in achieving that, we must sit down together on the drawing board and return to the drawing board and say that where do those responsibilities lie? The responsibility or obligation for that phase of the process now lies with the NCC, the Telecoms Regulatory Agency for Telecommunications in Nigeria, and the National Identity Management Commission to see how their data will then handshake and achieve pretty much what we're saying with NIN and BVN. Okay, whether it's publicly disclosed or not, we are understanding that it is the inability of these data formats to handshake that has been the problem. We can see that you've heard cases of people who said that, oh, they simply have, they've registered for their BVN, They have not done their name, but they find out that if they open up their mobile banking application, they find out that they can view a national identity number assigned to them based on information that we're getting from insiders in the industry. Is because the data collection format or the enrollment format for CBN and NIMSI have been relatively compatible. So it's made enrollment for people who own BVN a whole lot more seamless. And that's why we say that, yes, the minister's position again can also be looked at like a very wrong signal to the investment community. The minister is a policymaker. He is not, or his office is not that of the industry regulator. Okay, a situation in which we perennially see the minister under any guise issuing directly does not quite send a very comforting message to the investment community. A situation in which you have the mobile ecosystem or mobile phone operators or mobile networks laid out plans for a whole lot of promos within this season, and they were in the course of carrying those ones out, or they were actually carrying them out, and a ministerial order puts an end to that, puts a stop to that. For instance, let me explain some of the concerns. Nigerians need to know that unless the policy changes, unless it's being reviewed by what we understand to be a task force that's been subsequently set up, the import of the minister's directive is that, one, you cannot activate a new phone. Two, you cannot reactivate your lost phone. So it means that this is a season for Nigerians to jealously guard their SIM. If you lose your SIM, you can't get a welcome back unless that policy or that directive has been reviewed. So it carries a whole slew of consequences that spill all the way up down. Look at the number of people that fend or depend on the mobile ecosystem, the retinue of mummies and pubs, small businesses under the umbrella that sell SIM, that sell mobile services, that reactivate SIM and all of this. In just one fell swoop, this entire ecosystem was just frozen. And when I mean frozen, in a season in which government is saying that it's trying to ease the ease, or is trying to make the ease of doing business more seamless, is trying to make life a whole lot more comfortable for Nigerians. You do not issue a directive in a season of COVID pandemic in which we're finding out that there are now more
This is rising.
serious strain of the coronavirus pandemic all over the place. We have the second wave, like medical experts have warned. Then you get people, like the images you've seen all over Nigeria with people storming the mobile phone customer care center, storming NIMSI's offices. That's another wave of diffusion of COVID-19 that we have inadvertently created by just one policy man's directive that didn't quite take a holistic look at the impact of consequences on the way we live today, the way we work, and the way we play. That's one. So those are several dimensions to that directive, and that's why it calls for a radical review in the interest of everyone, in the interest of the mobile phone operator, in the interest of government sending a signal that Nigeria remains a place fantastic for doing business. As we are on the eve of 20 years of the rollout of DSP services in Nigeria, it should be part of the story story that we won't be telling that, oh, Nigeria wakes up one day and just unilaterally freezes a thriving sector like the mobile sector. Yes, the point needs to be reassessed that, or reaffirmed that identity is desirable. Identity is a must-have
Critical.
for us all to the digital economy. They must be done in a way that takes into cognizance the interest of all stakeholders across the board. So that's my submission on
Okay.
that.
So
Thank
very
you.
clearly,
Very
you're saying that saying
clear.
the minister needs to review this directive to reflect the interests of all stakeholders, and we also need to have a handshake between the NCC and the NIMC to ensure that everything is aligned in terms of data and identity management.
Correct.
Definitely, okay. Mr. Shina, let's get to something very interesting. I mean, this year
We
we
saw
saw
several
some guidelines because you have a youthful population, millennials, that are so active looking at the opportunities in what we call the blockchain, the digital currency and ecosystem. And in the recent magazine that you're involved in, we looked at it. I mean, what caught my attention was the National Blockchain Adoption Strategy, which of course the National Information Technology Development Agency, NITDA, is helping to guide. There are opportunities as highlighted in that article in terms of incentivizing investments in blockchain, creating a roadmap, even a sandbox to help deepen that whole value chain, because it's a huge value chain in the blockchain. But from your perspective, what should really happen more in terms of ensuring that we provide the right guidance, regulation, and open up the space for blockchain adoption in Nigeria?
Okay, thank you very much for that wonderful question. I think government, through the National Information Technology Development Agency, is clearly coming to terms with the reality that inevitably they can no longer ignore blockchain. Inevitably, they can no longer ignore a thriving virtual ecosystem of alternative money, if you call it alternative currency out there in various forms, Bitcoin or whatever you decide to give to it.
Crypto.
What we have seen is that that ecosystem of players in the value chain has existed before now, is thriving. A whole lot of the time, government regulators will issue statements and say that, oh, okay, it's not legal in Nigeria, it doesn't have any government backing. In case you invest in it, you're all alone, you're all by yourself and all of that. But like every other thing, technology is always ahead of government regulation, is always ahead of government, and a whole lot of other circumstances that may arise to either circumvent it or nip it in the bud. Technology is always ahead. So there's a thriving virtual ecosystem of players and stakeholders in that space. I think what NITDA has done as a first step is recognizing that inevitably we can no longer ignore blockchain. Inevitably, we will have to come to terms with the fact that we must have some overarching direction, roadmap in terms of the adoption, in terms of the enabling laws, in terms of the enabling regulations, so that it begins to give comfort to players in that space. Already, there's been players in that space who are way, way, way far ahead of government in terms of providing the necessary regulation. So it's comforting that, in fact, it's likely what I refer to as quite forward-looking, that the Information Technology Regulatory Agency of Nigeria has decided to say that irrespective of what the CBN says, irrespective of whatever the financial services industry regulators and stakeholders say about blockchain, it's no longer something that you can look the other way. So they've come up with a draft roadmap. They're asking for submissions from various stakeholders in order to firm it up and stand. The plan is first of all to encourage the adoption in the public sector. And you know that the public sector, more often than not, is a key driver. The public sector is the biggest spender and a whole lot of other things. So I consider it forward looking, and I consider that once you have the government intervention or recognition, or if you will say, quote unquote, endorsement of blockchain, it means that blockchain, whether you say that it's restricted to the public sector, the public sector value chain or the public sector stakeholders that will be adopting blockchain are primarily Nigerians. Okay, so that first of all shows that blockchain has recorded a major step forward in Nigeria, particularly with adoption in government, and it would, as we go into 2021, mean that it will radically transform the face of blockchain in Nigeria. It will kickstart a new era of growth. It would also mean that those alternative currencies, I mean, inevitably, the CBN and the various other stakeholders in the financial services industry will no longer say that they will stand again in silos to say that, oh, okay, we don't think. Once there's a policy guideline, roadmap, government is not, I mean, it might come from a different agency. There's no way the CBN will continue to maintain its stance that, oh, okay, blockchain, you can't blockchain in Nigeria. It would eventually mean that they will sync, they will find some sort of synergy, and then you see that it begins to thrive. So that's my position on it.
Yes, thank you very much, Shina Badaru. Already, the Security Exchange Commission are taking some steps, proactive steps already, providing that guidelines and draft, like you said, for crowdfunding.
You're muted.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Mr. Shina Badaru. Just to let you know that the Security and Exchange Commission are also being proactive, and I think taking a cue from NITDA to provide those guidelines and those drafts ahead for the digital ecosystem. We've seen what they're doing with crowdfunding and also other digital currency options. They're trying to begin to provide that guidance. So definitely, the synergy you said is very key. But as we wrap up, just in 1 minute, what are those top 4 trends that you see that will be critical for Nigeria's digital economy space 2021? COVID has reinforced the value of this sector. What are those 4 key trends in the next 1 minute, so we can let you go on to enjoy your Christmas?
The first one I would say is that inevitably, hopefully by next year, 5G will come. The government has already set up a roadmap for that. 5G will change everything. Everything, everything about how we use technology in our lives. Sometimes it sounds futuristic, like something out there. The possibilities of the speed, the possibilities of the capabilities, the possibilities that 5G. We're still scratching the surface when we say today that myself and yourself can sit anywhere in the world and be able to communicate virtually in multimedia format, audio, video, that no longer freeze, that no longer flicker, that no longer. But 5G will do so much, much, much more. 5G will bring a new era of possibility for our economy, and it's fantastic. 5G. If you look at the numbers, internet adoption, broadband adoptions, they're hitting the roof. Nigeria has today in excess of 207 million lines. If we are able to seamlessly transfer the users of 3G, 4G to a new era of possibilities of 5G, it's going to be wonderful. That's one key trend. Another key pointer or reminder I would like to make is that 20 years on, there's going to be major disruption in the mobile telephony space, hopefully by next year. Not quite a number of Nigerians are aware of this, but the industry regulator has also set up a roadmap for what they call the mobile, sorry, the virtual, they call them VMNO. What you've traditionally known is mobile network operators, the MTNs of this world, the Glows of this world, the Airtel, the Nine Mobile. There's going to be what is now known, it's a world of virtual. So there's going to be in 2021 or slightly give or take a few months after, as Nigeria is going to introduce what they call virtual mobile network operators. In 2001, when we issued the licenses for mobile networks, there was a very huge addressable market, because then we had just virtually 500,000 or 1,000,000 lines. Today we have in excess of 207 million mobile phone lines, 4 big operators and all of that. Government is introducing a new framework of introducing new operators that will ride or piggyback on the back of the existing operators. So they won't have to go through that rigorous licensing processes that the pioneers in the market went through. And that's going to be a game changer. It's going to introduce more competition. Is also likely to disrupt the market, because the existing operators will be under obligation to allow a new operator piggyback on the existing network without having to go through all that licensing route and paying huge money and all of that. So it focuses on, I mean, it's able to identify a need, focuses on that need, writes piggyback on an existing operator, and go live with the service. You've got the operators like that in the UK and other places. So Nigeria is going that way too. So in 2021, we're likely to see the rise of mobile, virtual mobile network operators. In 2021, you see more Nigerians asking their local government chairman, asking their state governors, what have you done for us lately regarding right of way and allowing broadband to come into, allowing fiber. All of us today are seeing the possibilities that broadband and faster internet can do in our homes, in our schools, for the businesses that we do, across this entire spectrum of what constitutes our life and our lifestyle, across how we live, how we work, and how we play. The conduit or the pipe that will deliver those to our homes, to deliver those to our businesses, and deliver those to our offices will be fiber. Okay, this year we've seen lots of tremendous initiative towards granting right of way. Places like Kaduna have said zero tax for fiber across the state and all of that. Fiber will bring a new era of prosperity across Nigeria. Nigeria has huge capacity of fiber that has landed our shores thanks to Main 1, Glow 1, and possibly Glow 2 coming, WASC, and all of this, including the existing pioneer SAT3 cable. But the challenge has always been taking this cable beyond the urban centers and delivering the dividend of those prosperity, the dividends of radical faster communication that this can mean for our schools, maybe for my school, my alma mater, in a place as remote as I be in Ogun Waterside local government area. So try to imagine dropping fiber in my secondary school in Abidi Community Grammar School. What will happen is that it will radically transform the access that they would have to knowledge. So it means that any child, whether in Zungeru, in Uge, in Oyo, in Ibadan, in Zamfara, once you're able to bring broadband close to them, the school has access to the existing store of knowledge that the child in Harvard, that the child in King's College, that the child in any other elite school anywhere in Nigeria, Africa, and beyond has access to. Because that pipe takes them to that repository of knowledge. It will be radical. It means that the farmer can showcase his or own produce online from their villages, cut off the middleman, and see a new era of e-commerce taking place. It means that as we continue to improve on our rail system, on our roads, we will see the radical complementary roles that these other infrastructure will play in supporting logistics as we open up new markets that are driven because of ubiquitous broadband network or infrastructure across the nook and cranny of Nigeria. So those are the key trends to watch out for in 2021, and I have no doubt at all that with the rate of progress, with the commitment, with the vision that's been set out in the National Broadband Plan, the digital economy framework of the present administration, which is also being backed up by the creation of an exclusive Ministry of Communication and Digital Economy, we will see a lot of movement, we will see a lot of impetus, we will see a lot of execution in 2021 and beyond.
Thank you very much, Mr.
Shina
Shina
Badaru
Badaru.
for the time. I know that it's a Christmas day, but we had this very interesting conversation around technology, and I must admit that viewers have learned a lot in terms of what to watch in 2021 and very key steps around the NIN linkage with SIM, what needs to be done, and even the blockchain, which is a new wave of a digital economy that is going to really impact Nigeria, Africa, and across the globe. Thank you once again, Mr. Shina Badaru, and wishing you once again Merry Christmas to you and your family. Founder, Technology Times, thank you once again for the time, and hope to have you even in the new year to talk around technology.
Let me also use this opportunity. I read about the radical rejig and management change in the organization. I want to congratulate you on the tremendous new responsibility assigned you and several other members of the fantastic team that make up the Russia and its web TV and various other complementary print, digital events, and research asset continue to be a poster boy of hope and a wonderful expression of the kind of unlimited possibilities that an organization can achieve with the right visionary like your chairman, my very good brother, Mr. Femi Awuyemi, and the wonderful team that is surrounded himself with. We continue to be very proud of you as you showcase Nigeria, across Nigeria, Africa, and beyond. So I also want to use the opportunity to congratulate you personally, to congratulate the chairman, Mr. William, and to congratulate the tremendous work that the Porsche team is doing for our economy and radically making us proud and holding our heads down across Nigeria, Africa. God bless you.
Thank you very much once again, Mr. Shina Badaru.
Founder of Technology Times, thank you for all you do for uplifting the tech sector and leading it to the globe, showcasing what Nigeria can do, endless possibilities. Wishing you much more fruitful prospects for 2021. And please go on and enjoy your Christmas celebration with your wonderful family. I know that they're all itchy to spend the rest of the day with you. Thank you. Thank you. That will be all for this edition of the Economy and Politics show. It was been nice having this conversation around policy, enabling legislations, and the digital economy growth in Nigeria. You can join our website to get further insight into this conversation and developments around technology on our website, www.proshaeng.com. And you can also follow our conversations at WebTVNG and send your views and comments around technology and growth in Nigeria to news@proshaeng.com. Till we come your way again, thank you for watching. Have a nice day and have a very special Merry Christmas celebration. Please don't forget to stay safe this period.